The other day, I was looking through my YouTube comments and I saw this comment which says it would be great if you could share your methods on transcribing rhythms. So as well as being a full-time bass player, I also arrange and transcribe songs for artists, and I use a specific 3-step system to accurately transcribe and write rhythms. If you've ever wanted to play syncopated bass lines in any genre, from funk grooves to blues, rock and triplet shuffles, you're going to want to learn how to transcribe and play rhythms accurately. Because if you ever listen to a recording of yourself playing a bass line and thought the notes sound correct, but the bass line sounds a bit messy and it's not really grooving, or maybe you feel like you're guessing where the rhythms are. Well, that's why I created this lesson today. I'm going to show you this quick 3-step method you can use to make sure you're playing rhythms correctly. We'll be using the song Hotel California as our example bass line, so we can start applying this transcription method into a musical context. So if you'd like to download the tab and the full bassless backing track for Hotel California, just click the link below this video and you can download the PDF and backing track for free. Right, enough said, let's grab your bass and dive straight into today's lesson. So step 1 is subdivision grids. You actually have to work out what the underlying subdivision grid is for the song or the bass line. And there are really 3 subdivision grids that you need to be aware of. There's the 8th note grid, where you divide the beat up in half. So if we have 1, 2, 3, 4, an 8th note grid is just 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And the second subdivision grid is the triplet grid, where we divide the beat up into 3. So we have 1 and a 2 and a. Some people also count this as triplet, triplet. And then we have the 16th note grid, which is the third subdivision grid, where you divide the beat into 4. So we have 1E and a, 2E and a, 3E and a, 4E and a. So when I'm listening to a song like Hotel California, for example, I can hear that there's a lot of... So if this is the beat, 2, 3, 4, I can hear those 1E and a 2E and a 3. You're breaking up the beat into 4. So the underlying subdivision grid that I'm going to be using to figure out the rhythms in Hotel California is the 16th note grid. If the song is more of a blues type shuffle or a jazz kind of vibe, maybe if this song Hotel California was something like I don't know, something like that, where it was based more on like a triplet grid where you're dividing the beat up into 3, then I would be using the 1 and a 2 and a, and that's how I would be figuring out the rhythms. But like I said, for Hotel California, we're going to be using the 16th note grid, and that's going to be the underlying subdivision grid that we're going to use to figure out exactly where all these rhythms are placed within the beats of the bar. Moving on to step 2. Step 2 is to actually sing the bass part. So now we know the underlying subdivision grid is the 16th note grid. We actually want to first be able to sing the bass part, and then we'll be able to play it on our bass. So for this, we're just going to take the first 4 bars or maybe 2 bars of the chorus from Hotel California. Let me play it for you. Welcome to the Hotel California. I'm using Hotel California as the example bass line because last month inside the Bass Mastermind, my students and I were working on this bass part together. Okay, so first what I would do is I would listen to the track and sing this bass part. Let's just take that first bar. So do 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 do. Pause the track. I'd sing it roughly at tempo, and I'd tap my foot on all 4 beats. So I'm tapping my foot here. Do 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 do. Maybe I'll play the track again, make sure I'm getting the right rhythm and I'm singing roughly the right notes. Here we're just focusing more on the rhythm than the notes, but I would definitely make sure I'm singing do-do-do, do-do, do-do. And what I'm trying to do here is literally just sing the bass part, tap your foot on all 4 beats and sing the bass part out loud. And then what you want to do is slightly slow down the bass part so we can have a bit more time to think about where these rhythms are. So instead of do-do-do, do-do, do-do, we could sing do-do, do-do, right? So that's the second step. Before I move on to the third step, if you want your question answered and potentially a YouTube video made for you, just like this comment here, then make sure you leave a comment below this video with a question, idea, baseline, or topic you'd like me to create a lesson on in a future video. So step 3 is to assign a subdivision grid to each finger. What do I mean by this? Well, let's just take Hotel California again as our example, using the 16th note grid as our underlying subdivision grid. So 1 E and that's exactly what we're going to be doing. We're going to assign a subdivision, so 1 E and to each finger. So we've got 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and this is a super visual way of being able to see where the rhythms are, and it's really going to help. This really helped me back in the day, and it really helps my students when it comes to actually transcribing rhythms, whether they just want to know where the rhythm lands within the beats of the bar, or if they actually want to be able to write down the rhythm on manuscript paper and actually transcribe it and write it. And this is where we really put step 2 and step 3 together. So we would sing the bass part slowly. This is why we slowed it down. We would sing I'm tapping my foot on all 4 beats. This is the first bar of the chorus, right? And then what I do, I've got my desk here, so I could do it on my desk, and I would actually tap the subdivision grid. So let's not worry about the rhythm on the bass part. Let's just tap our foot on all 4 beats and go 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and this is like a ticking clock that doesn't stop, right? So when I'm going 1 or 2 on the downbeat, I'm tapping my foot as well. So 1 E and 2 E and if you want to slow it down even more, 1 E and 2 E and then this next part is really key. What you want to do is line up what you're singing, which is the bass part, rhythmically with what finger you're putting down. Now this should be automatic, and you should have the bass line. If you can sing it, you should have it internalized. So we would sing right, so that's the first bar of the chorus, right? So let's sing it again and work out where each note or rhythm lands. So we have but we can see the first 3 notes are on each of the 16th note subdivision grid, so they're all 16th notes. So and then what we can do is write that out. So that's the first beat. Right? Did you catch it? The next note. So let's just get that one note. We're breaking it down a note at a time, right? Sing it out loud, slowly, and with the ticking clock, the ticking 16th note clock. So that you can see visually as well, that is on the second beat. So it's the 2 E and A. So because it's on the pinky, so 2 E and A. A. And then you know exactly where that rhythm is, and you can either write that out or you can take a mental note of it when you're actually playing the bass part. So and then we know that this that note there is on the downbeat, because we go and you can basically do this for the whole song and actually write out the bass part very accurately. It obviously takes time to be able to do this and sing it, but my biggest thing is to slow it down when you're singing it. So almost double check yourself. When I was first learning rhythms and trying to work out exactly where that rhythm was, instead of just guessing it, I can actually kind of mathematically work it out by using my fingers, singing the bass part, internalizing it, and doing the method I've just shown you. If you want to learn how I use this method and a couple of other methods to transcribe entire songs and bass lines, then check out this video where I break down my exact process on how I learned 125 bass lines in 48 hours. Now you know how to transcribe rhythms. This next video will show you how to transcribe form, harmony, and a whole lot more. So click this video you see on the screen now, and I'll see you there.